Okay, next chapter is gravitation. Okay, first we'll study the law of gravitation. Okay, which is also called as universal law of gravitation or Newton's law of gravitation, or simply it may be called as law of gravitation. Okay, why it is called as universal law of gravitation? Because the constant of proportionality here, what it comes is constant everywhere in the universe. Okay, so it may also be called as universal law of gravitation or Newton's law of gravitation, because it was given by Newton. Okay, now what is this law of gravitation? Write down, we have already studied in lower classes also. Okay, just keep writing. Write down any two bodies in the universe, attract each other with a force which is directly proportional, to the product of masses and and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them, Okay, so any two bodies in the universe, whether big, small, far away, close by, any two objects in the universe always attract each other with a force which is directly proportional to product of masses and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Let there are two bodies of masses m1, m2. Okay, and the distance is measured from center of the first body to the center of the second body. Okay, so these two bodies are attracting each other with a force which is directly proportional to product of masses, inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Okay, r square. Combining these two, we get F is proportional to m1 into m2 upon r square. On equating, a constant of proportionality comes, which is represented here by capital G and is called as universal gravitational constant. Okay, this G here is called as universal gravitational constant. Okay, why this word universal is added? Because its value is constant everywhere in the universe. Its value is constant everywhere in the universe, so it is called as universal gravitational constant. Okay, this is called as law of gravitation, Newton's law of gravitation, or universal law of gravitation, or simply you may call it, this is the law of gravitation. F is equal to G n1 n2 upon r square, where this capital G is called as the gravitational constant. Okay, and this force acts along the line joining the two bodies. Okay, what will be the direction? Force is a vector quantity. We'll write it in the vector form also. Okay, but here what is the direction of the force? Along the line joining the two bodies. Okay, write down, note it down, and write down the direction of force. The direction of force is along the line joining the centers of the two bodies, Okay, and such a force we call it as central force. This we have already studied in the properties of the fundamental forces. Okay, so any force which is acting along the line joining the center of the two bodies, such a force we call it as a central force. So gravitational force is a central force. Why? Because the direction of the force is along the line joining the center of the two bodies. Okay, now from here, capital G is equal to F into r square upon n1 into n2. From here, capital G is equal to F into R square upon N1 into N2. Okay, first let's find its SI unit. SI unit of capital G. I think everyone knows. Write down the unit and then you can check from the board what I have written. Newton meters into meter square upon kg into kg square. So its unit is Newton meter square or kg square. Dimensional formula. Dimension of capital G. 15 seconds given. Write down. Then I'll write on the board and you can check it. Force as a dimension m l t raised to the power minus 2. R is some distance L square upon m1 into m2. m1 mass, m2 is also mass, m into m square in the denominator. Okay, so m upon m square, m raised to the power minus 1. Here L into L square, m raised to the power 3, t raised to the power minus 2 is the dimensional formula of capital G. Okay, then write down. This capital G is a scalar quantity. Okay, it doesn't have any direction. It has got only magnitude. So capital G is a scalar quantity, and its value in SI units. And its value in SI units is everyone knows. Value of capital G in this is the SI unit. 6.67 into k raised to minus 11 Newton meter square or kg square is its SI unit, is its value. And this value is constant everywhere in the universe, not only on this planet, on any other planet or any other galaxy or on sun or moon, this value is constant. Okay. So that is why it is called as universal gravitational constant, because its value is constant everywhere in the universe. Okay, now let's define this capital G. Look at this formula. If the two bodies are of unit masses means in whichever unit it is taken, whether it is taken in kg, m1 m2 both are equal to 1 kg. If it is taken in CGS system, m1 m2 both are equal to 1 gram. So if two bodies of unit masses are separated by unit distance, then capital G is equal to F. Okay, so if m1 m2 both are equal to unity, let us take it in SI unit, both equal to 1 kg, and R is equal to 1 meter. Okay, substitute R 1 meter, this also 1 into 1, then what you get? Then capital G is equal to the force of gravitation. So how can you define? The gravitational constant is the force of gravitation between two bodies of unit masses separated by unit distance. Okay, so first write down. If m1 m2 is equal to 1 kg and r is 1 meter, then capital G is equal to F. Okay, so now let's define this capital G. Write down gravitational constant is the force of gravitation between two bodies of unit masses and separated by unit distance Okay, so F is G is equal to F, gravitational constant. The universal gravitational constant is defined as it is equal to the force of gravitation between two bodies of unit masses and they are separated by unit distance. So this how we can define capital G. Okay, so this is all about law of gravitation. Okay, and we have studied the characteristics of gravitational forces in the first chapter. Okay, four fundamental forces we have studied. There are its characteristics we have studied. The characteristics of the gravitational force, it is the weakest force in nature. Okay, there are four fundamental forces. The weakest among all four is gravitational force. Okay, then the next stronger is weak nuclear force. Okay, then electromagnetic force, and then the strongest is strong nuclear force. Okay, this we have already studied. Other characteristics also we have studied, that it is a long range force. It acts between two bodies which are at very short distances and for very long distances also. Like it is acting between Earth and Moon also, between Earth and Sun also. So it is a very long range force. It is a central force. Central force means it is the direction of this force is along the line joining the two bodies. Okay, along the line joining the center of the two bodies. Okay, then it is a conservative force. I think now you know what is a conservative force. If the work done by a force does not depend upon the path, only depends upon the initial and the final position, such a force we call it as the conservative force, and it is attractive in nature. Okay, this force is always attractive, it can never be repulsive. Gravitational force is always attractive. So characteristics of gravitational forces, gravitational force we have already studied. Okay, now some evidences which support this gravitational force. Okay, now gravitational force between any two bodies, we call it as the gravitational force. Okay, if we call it as gravity, gravity is also the gravitational force, but between the earth and any other body on the earth. Okay, then this force of gravitation we can call it as gravity. Okay, so somewhere it will be written as gravity. Gravity means one body is the earth and the second body is any other body. It may be moon, it may be any stone kept at a height. So between earth and any other object, this force of gravitation we'll call it as gravity. Okay, now write down evidences supporting evidences of law of gravitation. Okay, evidences of law of gravitation. Okay, the earth revolving around the moon, that is also due to the gravitational force of the earth. Okay, so write the first evidence. Okay, the moon revolving around the earth. This gives the evidence that the law of gravitation exists, that there is some force of gravitation. Okay, the moon revolving around the earth. Second one, earth revolving around the sun. Earth revolving around the sun. Okay, next is solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, that can also be predicted by this law of gravitation. So write down occurrence of solar and lunar eclipses. Occurrence of solar and lunar eclipses. Okay, then the tides which occur in the ocean, that is also due to the gravitational force of the moon on the earth. If the ocean comes, if the water comes in that part, when the moon is attracting the earth and there is an ocean, so what happens? High tides occur. The same way, due to the sun also the tides occur. So high tides and low tides, that also gives evidence of law of gravitation. So high tides, low tides, all these are due to the force of gravitation. Okay, so these are some of the evidences which support the law of gravitation. Okay, now let's write this gravitational force, this law of gravitation in vector form. Let us write it in vector form. law of gravitation in vector form. Okay, law of gravitation is giving the force between the two bodies. Magnitude of this force is a vector quantity. Magnitude of the force is gm1 m2 upon r square. Okay, now we'll write it in the vector form. That is, we'll write the direction of force also. Okay, so this way we can write the law of gravitation in vector form. Okay, the same figure. M1, M2 separated by r distance. Okay, now let here R12 unit vector. R12 unit vector is the, okay, this cap means it is the unit vector. R12 cap vector is the unit vector from the first to the second body. That is, it is only giving the direction. Which direction it is giving? From the first to the second body. Okay, so here R12 is the unit vector from M1 to M2 or from first to second body. Okay, now these two bodies, as we know that gravitational forces attract. So these two bodies are attracting. The first body is attracting the second body, as well the second body is also attracting the first body. Let the force on the first body Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in between the let it go, no? Okay, let it be, whatever it is. Okay, so okay, let R12 is the unit vector from the first to the second body. Okay, now these two bodies are attracting each other. This is the force on the first body exerted by the second body, F12. The same way, some force is exerted on the second body due to the first body. We can write it as F21. So, force on M1 due to M2. Okay, that is on the first body due to, how is it written? F12. Force on the first body due to the second body. F12 vector. Okay, because there are two bodies, both are attracting each other. So on the first body, there is some force exerted by the second body. So force on the first body due to the second. We know that the magnitude is Gm1 m2 upon r square. Okay, what is the direction of F12? Along R12 unit vector. R12 unit vector is from first to the second body, as you can see in the figure. F12 magnitude is this much. Now only the direction, because left hand side we have written in the vector form. So right hand side also it should be in the vector form. This is the magnitude. Now only the direction we have to represent. Only direction means only the unit vector will give the direction of F12. This is the whole magnitude. Okay, now what is the direction? Along R12, we know, as you can see in the figure, F12 is from the first to the second body. So we can write it as R12 unit vector. Okay, so this can be written as R12 unit vector. Okay, but here we'll write it as R21 unit vector. And we'll put a negative sign over here. Okay, why we have done like that? Because any force which is attractive, okay, when we write in the vector form, that should be negative. Attractive forces are always written in negative. Okay, this force F12 is acting along R12 vector, R12 unit vector. Okay, but R21 vector is opposite to R12 vector. So here we have put a negative sign and written the direction as R21 vector. The same way, force on the second body, force of M2 due to M1 is F21 vector. Force on the second body due to the first one. F21 vector, again the magnitude is Gm1 m2 upon r square. Now what is the direction of F21? From R2 to R1. That is from the second, as you can see here, it is from the second to the first body. Okay, only the direction is R21 unit vector. Okay, but here we'll write down R12 unit vector and put a negative sign over here. Why? Because as this force is attractive, so attractive forces in the vector form, we write it in the negative. Okay. Now here we see that R12 unit vector. In vectors, we have already studied that R12 unit vector is negative of R21 unit vector. Okay, both are unit vectors, both have magnitude unity, only the direction of these two vectors are opposite. Okay, if these two are opposite, it means so F12 vector is minus of F21 vector. That is, both the bodies are attracting each other with equal force, okay, but in the opposite direction. Which law is this? This is the Newton's third law. That is, this gravitational force is obeying the Newton's third law of motion. That is, the two bodies are attracting each other with an equal magnitude of force, but in the opposite direction. Okay, note it down and then write down. Write down. We have noted down, this is the force on the first due to the second, force on the second due to the first. R12 is minus of R21, so F12 is negative of F21 vector. Write down, hence gravitational force obeys Newton's third law of motion. It obeys Newton's third law of motion. Okay, what is Newton's third law of motion? That is, the two bodies are attracting each other with equal force, with equal magnitude of force, but in the opposite direction. Okay, so as you can see here, the direction is opposite. So this way we have written in the vector form. Okay, now there is one small experiment which was given by Cavendish, who was the first one to determine the value of capital G. Okay, who determined the value of capital G. Okay, so write down Cavendish experiment. Cavendish, name of a scientist. Cavendish experiment to determine the value of capital G. Cavendish experiment to determine the value of capital G. Okay, he was the first one to determine the value of capital G. And how much is it? 6.67 into 10 raised to the power minus 11. Okay, this experiment is given in the book. Okay, so today you will read it from the book, and then tomorrow we are going to discuss this. You will keep the book along with you. Okay, so the theory part you will note down from the book only. Okay, so you will keep the book along with you, and tomorrow we are going to discuss this experiment. Okay, 1 minute, wait down, let me take your attendance. Okay, any doubt, anyone? You can unmute.
No, ma'am.
No doubt. Okay, so today